This question I've been posing, why does the adjustment work, and the corollary questions that go with that, has been a white-hot topic. Actually, kind of shockingly so. The rabbit hole does go deep. I've created this thing called the adjustment formula. I've been teaching it around the world, and people have been raving about it. But it led to this survey, this thing that I said, I wonder what's on the minds of chiropractors. And quite often, we chiropractors of a certain persuasion, if you will, there maybe look at the adjustment as something significant, different, and special as compared to the generic term of spinal manipulative therapy and other such things, and who also have certain orientations towards subluxation, spinal correction, the influence of the adjustment on the entire health of the body, etc. We feel like there's been kind of a downward slide in the minds of the profession, and trying to resurrect some of the values of chiropractic that make chiropractic great seemingly has been a challenge and a battle out there in the world. But finally, I decided just this past week to do a global survey on what's on the minds of chiropractors, and I am shocked, in a good way, by what we found. We had just under 1,300 people who responded. But I think the actual number is 1,290 chiropractors from around the world who responded. Now, some people would say, well, my list is kind of biased toward a certain profile of chiropractor. However, I will say that I posted this on Facebook. We boosted it out there to varying areas to get different types of chiropractors interacting. And when you actually look at the results of the survey, you'll realize there's a little bit of a mix of how people are seeing things, but there are certain areas that are profoundly definitive on really the way that the majority of chiropractors think and the way that they approach things. So I really think that this is a significant data point, or a series of data points for the chiropractic profession, and I want to share them with you right now. Also, let me say that if you're interested in my next class, the adjustment formula, it launches on Monday, November 16th, so we're going to have to close down registration soon. If you want to get more information on that and see how deep the rabbit hole really does go to adjustmentformula.com. There's a video there where I talk about the variables within the adjustment that make a big effect on why there's variables in the outcomes of the adjustment. So go check out that video, look at what's there. If it rings right for you, sign up and join us for the 5 weeks. I think you'll love it. So let's get into the survey and actually look at how chiropractors from around the world answered these questions. Here is the first question. Do you prefer the term adjustment, manipulation, or I don't have a preference? Why? Yeah, and the glasses. Well, you're probably looking, why is he wearing these glasses? Because I have to be able to read very small type on these papers right now. So I'm not trying to go Hollywood on you, okay? I'm not trying to be Bono. I just need to be able to read what's in front of me. Otherwise, it looks like a bunch of blur. All right. So C2, subluxation. We'll get that corrected. So do you prefer the term adjustment? 93.63% of the respondents said they prefer adjustment. Manipulation, 1.4% said they prefer manipulation. I don't have a preference, 4.97%. So if you look, overwhelmingly, 93.6+% said they prefer the term adjustment. And around 5% said they really don't care. Now, next question. Do you think there is a significant difference between an adjustment and a manipulation? This to me is a very important question, and I've made passionate arguments and written about the difference between an adjustment and a manipulation. They're not the same thing to me, but I want to know what the rest of the world, the world of chiropractic thinks. So here's what they said. Yes, for sure. 83.02% said yes, for sure there's a difference between an adjustment and manipulation. No, not at all. 10.28% said there's no difference at all. They're the same thing. And there is a minor difference, 6.7%. So 83% of chiropractors will assert that there's definitely a difference between an adjustment and a manipulation. And there's another 16 or 17% that think that there's really not a difference or there's a minor difference. Again, overwhelmingly, the amount leans toward that the adjustment is different than a manipulation. Next one. Is the adjustment the primary service you offer in your office? I'm curious about this. I'm starting to see that there's chiropractors sometimes who kind of let the adjustment take a back seat because they don't have much confidence in it, or there's such variability in the results they're getting with the adjustment that they start to lean on other things. They have a lack of certainty, if you will. And I'm wondering how pervasive that is, or how many people say, no, this is the foundation or the core of what we do. Well, the people who said yes, the adjustment is the primary service we offer in our office, 95.57%. So overwhelming. There's a roughly 4.43% of chiropractors say no. The primary service is something other than the adjustment. Very interesting. I wonder what they are doing, and I have a sense of some of it. And I'm not here to moralize, okay? I'm not here to tell people they're right or they're wrong. I just want to know what they're thinking. Now, next question. What range of impact do you think the adjustment has? The categories I gave, and some people didn't like the way I wrote the questions. People are just, listen, I wrote the questions. I could have probably spent another 2 weeks on them and refined them a little bit. But this was just, literally, I thought I might get a few hundred people to answer a survey, and almost 1,300 chiropractors did it worldwide. And I think that the questions are good enough to give us some indications here. So here are the categories I gave. What range of impact do you think the adjustment has? One category was musculoskeletal pain only. The second one was musculoskeletal pain and visceral function. The third one was musculoskeletal pain, visceral function, and general health and wellness, meaning whole body life expression, if you will. So here's what we got. The chiropractors who responded musculoskeletal pain only was the range of the extent or the impact of the adjustment. I was shocked at how low this number was, only 2.23%. So it was a very small percentage who felt that it's only for musculoskeletal pain. I mean, the percentage of people who preferred the term manipulation was bigger than that. So even the people who think that manipulation is the better term think that the range of their manipulation goes beyond just musculoskeletal pain. Very interesting. Musculoskeletal pain and visceral function, 1.79%. So that's actually for just those two. It's actually slightly smaller than musculoskeletal pain only. But where's the majority? Musculoskeletal pain, visceral function, and general health and wellness, 95.88%. The vast majority, I'm talking almost 96% of chiropractors in a pretty big worldwide survey think, or assert, if you will, that the adjustment has applications or benefits for musculoskeletal pain, visceral function, and general health and wellness. And incidentally, that's consistent with other surveys I've seen done at institutions. All right. Now here's an important one. I've been hearing people say, because I've been in this adjustment formula thing for a while now, and I'm getting a lot of interaction, feedback, and comments on my Facebook page, everywhere else. And people are saying, well, I don't see these miracles in my office. Or people talk about how amazing results they get with chiropractic on these dramatic cases. And I've never seen that. I don't know other chiropractor has seen that. So I'm curious. I asked the question. Have you experienced radical health changes, and I put in parentheses chiro miracles, in some of your patients as a direct result of the adjustment? Categories, yes for sure, no never, maybe, but I'm not sure, I'm not convinced it was the adjustment. What did we find? Yes for sure, 90.5% of chiropractors. 9 out of 10 chiropractors said, I have experienced radical changes in some of my patients, these chiro miracles. So it's 9 out of 10, not even the majority, the absolute vast majority of chiropractors. No, never, 2.34%. So only about 2 out of 100 chiropractors said, I've never seen that kind of thing in my practice. Maybe, but I'm not convinced it was the adjustment, because that's an interesting question, right? Sometimes we see this stuff happen, but chiropractors say, well, maybe it was something else, maybe it was self-limiting, maybe it had nothing to do with the adjustment. 7.17% said, hey, we've seen this in the practice, these kind of radical health changes, but I'm not convinced it was the adjustment. Maybe it was something else. That's 7.17%. So, wow, we got people walking around, over 90% of chiropractors saying, I prefer the term adjustment. Almost 90% of chiropractors saying, I know that it has whole body health benefits, and over 90% of chiropractors saying, I see, miracles, quote, I'm putting quotes around that, but radical changes, health changes in people when I adjust them. This is some pretty powerful stuff. It should make for a great next few days. You can put a little bounce in your step if you happen to agree with the results of the survey. For other people, maybe it's going to stimulate or inspire you a little bit. I've seen that happen already. Which do you think is more important? This is a great question. If I don't say so myself, I wrote it, but it's a great question, I think, to ask the profession. Which do you think is more important? The technique being used or the skills of the chiropractor using the technique? In other words, some people, when they're not getting results, they think they have the wrong technique. And I'm curious what people think about that. I have a certain position on it, but I was wondering what the rest of the field thought. So here's what they thought. 6% felt it was the technique that makes the difference. 93.93% said the skills of the chiropractor using the technique is what makes a difference. And I couldn't agree with that more. I think having a technique is important, not just randomly manipulating. That's one of the differences between an adjustment and a manipulation. Having a technique is important, but it's the skills of the chiropractor using the technique that matters more than which technique it is, as far as I'm concerned and as far as over 93% of the profession is concerned. Now, are you frustrated with the variations you get in results from patient to patient? All chiropractors get variations in the results. All medical doctors get variations in the results. All of any kind of practitioners or service people get variations in the results. But in chiropractic, I feel sometimes chiropractors lose confidence and lose certainty because of the variation they're getting. And I also believe, and this is what the adjustment formula is about, that the variables that create those variations can be absolutely managed and upgraded so that you have more consistent results. That's why I created adjustment formula. But I wanted to see what was in the mind of the chiropractors out there in the world. So again, the question is, are you frustrated with the variations you get in results from patient to patient? The answers are yes, it is frustrating. No, my results are pretty consistent. Or even though my results vary a lot, I don't find it frustrating. Here's what we found. This was interesting. This was the one that was the most mixed answer. Yes, it is frustrating. Well, 22.95% of you thought it was frustrating. No, my results are pretty consistent. 45.59% of you felt that, hey, I get pretty good and consistent results. Even though my results vary a lot, I don't find it frustrating. 31.5% of you said, your results do vary, but it's not frustrating to me. I just accept that that's a part of the challenge of being a chiropractor and practicing with varying types of patients. And of course, the variables are on the side of the patient and on the side of the chiropractor. And I created this equation that kind of pulls them together, not the purview of this particular video, but I just want to get your mind thinking about what the implications of this particular question are. So what did we find? Well, 45.59% was the biggest answer. If you can see, I have like my little graphs here, which show me how, the visual on this and then the actual data down here. This came from SurveyMonkey. We pulled this all together in a SurveyMonkey survey. We had 1,281 people answer this question, 9 skipped it. So all the data is here. It's actually, we'll probably publish this. But here's the thing. 45.59% said, my results are pretty consistent. That's really good. That's better than I would have expected. And then another 31.5%, the next biggest group, said, even though they vary, I don't find it frustrating. I don't get frustrated. I understand that it's practice. I'm trying to grow and do better every year at it. And the fact that it varies is something that's an expectation. And then, of course, there's 22.95, almost 23% of you, almost 1/4, that say, wow, that's a really frustrating thing for me. And I get that. I've experienced that frustration myself. So with all that, we see that we've got a fairly interesting profile of the profession that's very telling about the profession's orientation toward these issues surrounding the adjustment. Millions and millions of people are getting adjusted around the world. And it ranges from newborns to people that are 100 plus years old. And I think we need to start having this conversation in a more robust way. And you'll see in the email that came in, I'm inviting you, I'm hosting a summit, an adjustment summit. It's going to be live, virtual, via Google Hangout technology. There's a link there. It's free. Just come to it. We're going to dig into this conversation in a robust way. I think it's going to stimulate you. I think you're going to wake up in the morning thinking more about chiropractic and less about other types of challenges you might have in your life. And it's going to have you be more focused when you adjust your patients. But I want to engage you in the conversation. It's live. It's interactive. The viewing page is adjustmentformula.com/summit. But again, there's a link in the email where you got this video, at least if that's how you found this video. And I look forward to being there with you. Show up. It's a live event. I think you'll be really excited about it. Again, check out Adjustment Formula and feel good about these results if there's something that you care about what chiropractors think and you care about the distinction and uniqueness of chiropractic. This should be a really good thing. Great being with you and excited to be able to share this information with you.